So this is all what we discussed in chapter 7, where Srila Rup Goswami in the previous chapter establishes 64 lamps of devotional service, and now in chapter 7 he presented various evidence of all those lamps. So we discussed about accepting the shelter of bona fide spiritual master, why that is important, who is a bona fide spiritual master, and Rup Goswami quotes from various scriptures from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, and the second was accepting initiation from spiritual master and receiving instructions, how to serve spiritual master, following in the footsteps of saintly person, inquiring about religious principles, prepared to give up material enjoyment, deciding in sacred places. So we discussed about how demigods see the residents of Jagannath Puri Dham as four-handed in their four-handed form, and wherever the sacred rivers are flowing, it's a very favorable environment to stay and practice devotional service. Then we discussed about accepting only what is necessary, fasting on Ekadashi, and giving up company of non-devotees. Non-devotees means atheists, demigod worshippers, and Mayavadis. And we read how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says how we can recognize a Vaishnava, one who has given up the company of non-devotees. And we discussed about the examples of cage of iron or fire, or preference to embrace a snake, tiger, or alligator rather than association of non-devotees. Then there was a section related to not accepting unfit disciples, and Srila Prabhupada writes that how in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, in the parampara of Lord Chaitanya, devotees sometimes take risk to accept people in general who are serious and sincere. They may not be qualified at present, but if they follow rules and regulations, they can be raised to the perfection level. Because without accepting disciples, the movement or the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not expand all over the world. And then we read about how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur talks about, or different Shastra talks about, what is the right mood of accepting disciples and what is an inappropriate mood of accepting disciples. And we discussed about previous section, straightforwardness in the ordinary dealings, and how one needs to be sama dukkha sukha. I mean, in distress and in happiness, one needs to maintain equilibrium, because as soon as there is a strong material emotion, one becomes disturbed. It becomes difficult for that person to be steady in following the devotional principles. The one should not neglect demigods, we offer respects, not giving pain to any living entity. Right? So this all we discussed in chapter 7. And now chapter 8 will talk about offenses to be avoided. So we'll be discussing about offenses in seva, and we'll be discussing about offenses in chanting of the holy names. We also discussed this Anam Aprad in this chapter, and we also discussed about the Seva Aprad. I think it's from a different version, the presentation that's because we already discussed these parts as well.
Krishna Prabhuji, we completed the 8th chapter. I think we have to start the 9th chapter.
Sorry, come up again.
Prabhuji, I think we have completed the 8th chapter. We have to start the 9th chapter.
Yes. We discussed about sometimes there in Nectar of Devotion there was in the books, sometimes in the old version and the new version there are few changes. Just give me one more. Yes, we already discussed chapter 8, and we discussed in detail about the Seva Praj and Nama Praj. We had in the previous session, we discussed about these things. What happens? Can someone tell what one when one commits offenses and towards the holy name? What is the result of those offenses? Anyone remember? You need to go to a place where connection is good, Prabhu. I'm not able to understand. Or you can type in the chat section.
Hare Krishna. May I speak, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
Prabhuji, if, the holy name is non-different from the Lord. So if we do not take the name properly, then it's an aparadh against Nam Prabhu. And if we insult him, then he will not give us the full benefit. And secondly, aparadh, as you had said, means taking away from Radharani, Apa plus Arad. So obviously, then we'll not be put in the sevas of the lordships by Radharani. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Second है loss of Shraddha, loss of faith.
Okay. That's fine. How we can overcome these offenses?
By taking the shelter of Krishna and doing the japa of by doing chanting also Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Yes, we take shelter of Krishna and we discuss how the offenses, the main offense, all offenses spring from inattention in the holy name. By attentively chanting holy names and being careful, being mindful of these offenses, we can actually overcome. So we have to start with chapter 9. Today we completed chapter 8.
One question, Prabhuji, from chapter 8. Prabhuji, it is written कि 7th उसमें कि कुछ फल चढ़ाए बिना धूपदान नहीं करना चाहिए, पर प्रभु जी हम तो पहले धूप ऑफर करते हैं उसके बाद फ्लावर ऑफर करते हैं.
Where it is written which offense?
इसके अंदर 32 जो लिखे ऑफेंसेस, 32 ऑफेंसेस के अंदर है ये 7th ऑफेंस है प्रभु जी.
One should not offer incense without offering some flowers. It
Yes.
means whenever you are offering incense, you must also offer some flower.
पर प्रभु जी हम तो आरती में सबसे पहले इंसेंस ही करते हैं ना, फ्लावर कहाँ होते हैं उस वक्त.
No, it doesn't. It is not talking about the sequence.
Okay.
You can offer when you should not offer incense alone. आपने सिर्फ धूप दिखाई, उसके बाद कुछ नहीं किया, खत्म कर दिया. तो जब भी आप अगरबत्ती या धूप ऑफर कर रहे हो, साथ में कुछ फ्लावर्स भी ऑफर करने चाहिए उसके बाद. और अगर फ्लावर्स नहीं है, एटलीस्ट मानसिक रूप से जरूर ऑफर करने चाहिए.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, even during the Sandhya Aarti?
All aartis, anytime you are offering incense, we should also offer flowers.
Okay.
Chapter 9, further considerations of devotional principles. Blasphemy. One should not tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his devotees. In this connection, in the 10th canto, 74th chapter, verse 40 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, My dear king, if a person, after hearing blasphemous propaganda against the Lord and his devotees, does not go away from that place, he becomes bereft of the effect of all pious activities. Let that sink in. Shukdev Goswami is saying in Srimad Bhagavatam, if you are hearing blasphemous propaganda against the Lord and his devotee, and if you do not go away from that place, all the effect of pious activities that will be vanquished. Simply by hearing what to talk about, if you participate and engage and get involved further. In one of the Lord Chaitanya's Shikshastic verses, it is stated, the devotee should be more tolerant than the tree and more submissive than the grass. He should offer all honor to others, but may not accept any honor for himself. In spite of Lord Chaitanya's being so humble and meek as a devotee, when he was informed about injuries inflicted on the body of Sri Nityanand, he immediately ran to the spot and wanted to kill the offenders, Jagai and Madai. This behavior of Lord Chaitanya's is very significant. It shows that a Vaishnava may be very tolerant and meek, foregoing everything for his personal honor. But when it is a question of the honor of Krishna or his devotee, he will not tolerate any insult. There are three ways of dealing with such insults. If someone is heard blaspheming by words, one should be so expert that he can defeat the opposing party by argument. If he is unable to defeat the opposing party, then the next step is that he should not just stand there meekly, but should give up his life. The third process is followed if he is unable to execute the above mentioned two processes. And this is that one must leave the place and go away. If a devotee does not follow any of the above mentioned three processes, he falls down from his position of devotion. The very strong recommendation, and in no way it is meant for exaggeration. It simply tells us how grave it is to hear and to become involved in blaspheming any Vaishnava or the Lord. The first response is, you yourself should be so expert that you can defeat the opposing party by argument. If you are not that expert and you are not able to defeat, the next step that is recommended is, you should not just stand there meekly, but should give up your life. And the third process is followed if you are not able to execute the above mentioned two processes, then one must leave the place and go away. So many times Shastras, in order to बिल्कुल झकझोरने के लिए, if a person is in a deep coma, deep sleep and is not waking up, what does one has to do? He has to shout loudly or he has to उसको पकड़ के बिल्कुल हिलाना पड़ता है. उसी प्रकार से बार बार श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु शास्त्रास all acharyas बार हिला रहे हैं, जीव जागो. Don't be involved in this criticizing Vaishnava or hearing their criticism. It will have such grave effects on your spiritual life. So they are begging, they are warning, they are shouting, please don't involve yourself in any of these acts. Protect yourself, save yourself. Next, Tilak and Tulsi beads. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement describing how a Vaishnava should decorate his body with tilak and beads. Persons who put Tulsi beads on the neck, who mark 12 places of their bodies as Vishnu temples with the Vishnu symbolic representations, the 4 items held in the 4 hands of Lord Vishnu, conch, mace, disc and lotus, and who have Vishnu tilak on their foreheads, are to be understood as the devotees of Lord Vishnu in this world. Their presence makes the world purified, and anywhere they remain, they make that place as good as Vaikuntha. Simply, if you put tulsi beads on the neck, अगर आप कंठी माला पहनते हैं, अपने शरीर पे 12 जगह तिलक लगाते हैं, आपके उपस्थिति मात्र से ये पूरा विश्व शुद्ध होगा और आप किसी भी स्थान को जाएंगे उसको आप वैकुंठ में परिवर्तित कर सकते हैं। ये है तिलक की और कंठी माला की महिमा। तो अगर किसी ने कंठी माला नहीं पहनी, the Prabhupada says you are in the most precarious condition. One time it happened, one of the devotees was not wearing tulsi beads. Prabhupada asked him, why, what happened? He said, my tulsi beads were broken and I will change it in some time. The Prabhupada says, only if you know how dangerous position are you, you would not uh, let tulsi beads go off your body even for one moment. So these tulsi beads, these are the true ornaments of a Vaishnava. It is a real wealth. When we chant holy name of Krishna and put this tilak, there is a kavach that develops around our body and we are saved from evil influences. And how important it is. You know, even when Krishna, he was attacked by Putana, and when Krishna killed Putana, Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini immediately came and grabbed Krishna, lifted Krishna in their arms, and they bathed Krishna with cow urine, and simultaneously they were chanting the holy names of Lord. There Srila Prabhupada writes, in the Vedic civilization, how important is it to protect the cows and the holy name of Lord Vishnu. So tilak means what? We put tilak. Tilak is not simply the form that we put here. We also chant holy names of Lord Vishnu. Om Keshavaya Namah, Om Narayanaya Namah, Om Madhavaya Namah, Om Govindaya Namah, Om Vishnuvaya Namah, Om Madhusudanaya Namah, Om Trivikramaya Namah, Om Vamanaya Namah, Om Sridharaya Namah, Om Rishikeshaya Namah, Om Padmanabhaya Namah, Om Damodaraya Namah. So we put tilak and we chant, we invoke the Lord on those places. And simply by doing that, so much benefit you can derive in your life. And all the other people who would see you with that tilak and kantimala. A similar statement is in the Skand Puran, which says persons who are decorated with tilak or gopi chandan, a kind of clay resembling fuller's earth which is produced in certain quarters of Vrindavan, and who mark their bodies all over with the holy names of Lord, and on whose necks and breasts there are tulsi beads, are never approached by the Yamdoots. The Yamdoots are the constables of King Yam, who punishes all sinful men. Vaishnavas are never called for by such constables of Yamraj. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the narration of Ajamil's deliverance, it is said that Yamraj gave clear instructions to his assistants not to approach the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are beyond the jurisdiction of Yamraj's activities. The Padma Puran also mentions a person whose body is decorated with the pulp of sandalwood, with paintings of the holy name of the Lord, is delivered from all sinful reactions. And after his death, he goes directly to Krishna Lok to live in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is how, if you are always in contact with Tulsi by wearing neck beads, you'll always be protected from so many dangerous positions in this material world. And Shastras guarantee that you won't be approached by Yamdoots. So always wear Kantimala, always stay near to Mother Tulsi, and within your family also, put tilak, encourage everyone to put tilak, and grow Tulsi at home, and always wear Kantimala. If there are some considerations that you cannot wear Kantimala at your office place, workplace, or you are आपको hesitant लगता है कहीं ना कहीं आपको कुछ ना कुछ problem है, then at least we are in one round in which you can It stays beneath the clothes and is not visible outside for whatever reason, if there are any reasons for that. But do wear them. The next is accepting flower garlands. The next instruction is that one should put on flower garlands which are offered to the deity. In this connection, in the 11th canto, 6th chapter, verse 46 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhava says to Krishna, "My dear Krishna, I have taken things which we have used and enjoyed, such as garlands of flowers, scented oils, garments, and ornaments, and I eat only the remnants of your foodstuff, because I am your menial servant. So therefore, I am sure that I shall not be attacked by the spell of material energy." The purport of this verse is that for any person who simply follows these rules and regulations of decorating the body with the marks of tilak of Gopi Chandan or sandalwood pulp and who puts on the garlands which were offered to Krishna, there is no question of being conquered by the spell of material energy. At the time of death, there is no question of such a person's being called by the constables of Yamraj. Even if one does not accept all the Vaishnava principles, but still takes the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna or Krishna Prasad, he'll gradually become qualified to rise to the platform of a Vaishnava. Similarly, in the Skand Puran, Lord Brahma tells Narad, "My dear Narad, anyone who puts on his neck the flower garlands which was formerly used by Krishna becomes relieved from all disease and reactions to sinful activities, and gradually he is liberated from the contamination of matter." So this Nirmalya, specifically the flower garland which is being mentioned here, is not an ordinary thing. It is not that by chance we get any garland of Mahaprasad, garland of the deities. And as soon as you get that, it's a sign of great fortune, and we must immediately accept that garland. When Lord Nityananda went into Jagannath temple for taking darshans of Lord Jagannath, immediately there was a garland that fell off, and Pujari brought that garland towards Lord Nityananda, and he accepted that garland with such ecstasy. He embraced all the pujaris. So, and in different pastimes, here Uddhava is saying to Krishna that I have used and enjoyed your Mahaprasad, either the garlands or the scented oils or the garments. We have Nirmalya department in our temple, which takes the garments of the deities, convert into different things, and give it to the devotees, sell it to the devotees. So I don't think that is a very mundane, normal bag or normal bead bag. Those are made from the Nirmalya, direct garments of the deities, and they are very, very special stuff. They are a very, very special prasad, and which by using which you can stay protected from the spell of material energy, and specifically about Krishna Prasad, remnants of foodstuff. And Srila Prabhupada says that anyone, even if you are not accepting, even if one does not accept all the Vaishnava principles, even if one is not following regulative principles, he is not accept Krishna as God or is averse, but somehow or other, if he takes the remnants of foodstuff or accepts the garland, you know, gradually they becomes qualified to rise to the platform of a Vaishnava. So all these Tadiya or the Nirmalya Mahaprasad of the Lord, they are very, very potent and powerful. And when we honor them, it is a sign of our great fortune. If at the time of death, if we leave our bodies in association of devotees and someone brings garland from Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Madhav, or bring, the Mahaprasad of the Lord, Tulsi, Charnamrit, though that is the real success of life. That is the real fortune of a living entity. Otherwise, you may wear big, big jewelry, gold, diamond. What value that have got? They'll stay here. But if you are wearing Tulsi, Kantimala, accepting Tilak, chanting holy names of Lord, and accepting these Nirmalya of Krishna, that makes you devotionally charged with spiritual energy, and that makes you devotionally rich in spiritual life. Not only the devotees, but even non-devotees, if they embrace and accept that. And that is why Srila Prabhupada emphasized so much on distributing Krishna Prasad. Prasad is magical. The dancing before the deity. In the Bharat Mahatmya, the importance of dancing before the deity is stated by Lord Krishna as follows. A person who is in a jubilant spirit, who feels profound devotional ecstasy while dancing before me, and who manifests different features of bodily expression can burn away all the accumulated sinful reactions he has stocked up for many, many thousands of years. In the same book, there is a statement by Narad wherein he asserts from the body of any person who claps and dances before the deity, showing manifestations of ecstasy, all the birds of sinful activities fly away upward. Just as by clapping the hands one can cause many birds to fly away, similarly the birds of all sinful activities which are sitting on the body can be made to fly away simply by dancing and clapping before the deity of Krishna. One time one astrologer came and astrologer said, Srila Prabhupada, I want to see your hand. Srila Prabhupada said, what would you see in my hand? These are my disciples, you can see their hand. The astrologer saw the hands of Srila Prabhupada's disciples and did various predictions. So when he left, all disciples were confused and they were looking towards Srila Prabhupada. How to understand what just happened? Because for them it was a very new thing in the Western country. Srila Prabhupada said, simply by clapping your hand before God Nitai, these lines on your hands would change. So Srila Prabhupada is not exaggerating, he's quoting Shastra. Anyone who dances before Krishna or who claps, what is the analogy that is given here? Just like by clapping, one fly away all the birds. Suppose there are birds sitting around and you simply clap, the bird immediately fly away. Similarly, by clapping before Krishna in Kirtan, the birds of sinful activities would fly away. And it is a great devotional service to dance and clap in the front of deities for the deity's pleasure. So the dancing and clapping should not be to become the center of attraction in the group. It should not be to get attention of opposite gender or to get attention of any other person in the temple room. It is simply meant to provide pleasure to the deities, and therefore one must always chant and dance and clap. Sometimes we see devotees, they are so spaced out in the kirtan, they are so spaced out in the aarti that is going on. So we should make a deliberate effort whenever we get an opportunity in Harinam Sankirtan, in the front of deities, we should not be shy, we should dance. Of course, within the by following proper Vaishnava etiquettes. There are separate spaces for Matajis and Prabhujis. There are time, place, and circumstances consideration of the other how much area that is available for dancing. Our dancing and our clapping should not be a disservice to other Vaishnavas that are present in that space. Neither should it be a disservice to the person who is leading the kirtan. If you are clapping and your clapping is not in the rhythm with what is going on, and it may disturb the entire flow of kirtan. So we can still clap, but that clap should not be disturbing, should not become a disturbance. And similarly, while dancing, but we should dance enthusiastically. We see as the time passes and as the time goes away, the more and more years person spend, the person keeps on standing, or there are some health issues, there are some back aches in the body. So yes, if there is some certain condition like that, at least we can fold hands, we can try clapping, whatever we can, we must do instead of sitting or standing idly, not knowing what to do or being spaced out in the entire process. Next is bowing down in the honor of the deity. In the Naradiya Puran, there is a statement about bowing down and offering respect to the deity. It is said there, a person who has performed a great ritualistic sacrifice and a person who has simply offered his respectful obeisances by bowing down before the Lord cannot be held as equal. The person who has executed many great sacrifices will attain the result of his pious activities, but when such results are finished, he has to take birth again on the earthly planet. However, please keep your mic on mute mode. Every time I have to. But when such results are finished, he has to take birth again on the earthly planet. However, the person who has once offered respects, going down before the deity, will not come back to this world because he will go directly to the abode of Krishna. Standing up to receive the Lord. So this specifically about offering obeisances. Please keep your mics on mute mode. This is the fourth time I have to put you on the mute mode. Standing up to receive the Lord. In the Brahman Puran, it is said a person who sees the Lord's Rath Yatra festival and then stands up to receive the Lord can purge all kinds of sinful results from his body. So the Rath Yatra festival, if you are simply standing up to receive the Lord who has come out in the chariot, all sinful results from your body can be finished in that very moment. Following the deity, a similar statement is there in the Bhavishya Puran in which it is said, even if born of a lowly family, a person who follows the Rath Yatra car, when the deities pass in the front or from behind, will surely be elevated to the position of achieving equal opulence with Vishnu. What else you want? Devotional service is so simple. Even a child can take part in it. Simply by following the deity, simply by following the Sankirtan procession, simply by following the Rath Yatra, you can get the same opulence as Vishnu. And mind you, these are not exaggerations. These are the eternal truths which are given clearly by Shastra. Going to the temple of Vishnu or to the places of pilgrimage. And stated in the Puranas, persons who attempt to visit the holy places of pilgrimage like Vrindavan, Mathura, or Dwarka are actually glorified. By such traveling activities, they can pass over the desert of material existence. In the Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya, there is a statement about the benefit of visiting the temples of Lord Krishna. As we have explained previously, in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka, the system is that all the devotees take advantage of visiting various temples situated in those holy places. It is stated in the Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya, persons who are impelled by pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness and who therefore go to see the deities of Vishnu in the temple will surely get relief from entering again into the prison house of a mother's womb. The conditioned soul forgets the trouble of living within the mother's womb during birth, but it is a very painful and terrible experience. In order to make an escape from this material condition, one is advised to visit the temple of Vishnu with devotional consciousness. Then one can very easily get out of the miserable condition of material birth. So to take birth again, to enter into a womb is a very, very horrible, very, very troublesome experience and painful experience. And one should always remember that this is my real challenge in life. All other things which are coming in my life are temporary. They will come and go. They are small, small problems. Sometimes there are problems with the body, with the mind, with the fellow persons, with the, too much heat, cold, rain. All those things are nothing as compared to the trouble that is there in entering in a womb again, or the trouble that comes at the time of death. So that is our, we should be mindful of that, and we should endeavor not to come again in this birth. And this world again. And what is the process? Go to holy places or the temple of Vishnu. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada used to say, our temples, ISKCON temples, are rendering biggest service to humanity because they are protecting them from entering the womb again. They are awakening persons. Get up, take the spiritual life. And that is why Srila Prabhupada and Acharyas in this line, they are spreading this message of Krishna consciousness. And that is why one of the purpose of ISKCON, if you read 7 purposes, one of the purposes of ISKCON is to establish a place that is dedicated to the personality of Godhead. So we'll read just one more. Circumambulating the temple of Vishnu. It is said in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, a person who is circumambulating the deity of Vishnu can counteract the circumambulation of repeated birth and death in this material world. The conditioned soul is circumambulating through repeated births and deaths on account of its material existence, and this can be counteracted simply by circumambulating the deity in the temple. The Chaturmasya ceremony is observed during the 4 months of the rainy season in India. It is now right now going on the first month of Chaturmas, approximately July, August, September and October, beginning from Shravan. During these 4 months, saintly persons who are accustomed to travel from one place to another to propagate Krishna consciousness remain at one place, usually a holy place of pilgrimage. During this time, there are certain special rules and regulations which are strictly followed. It is stated in the Skand Puran that during this period, if someone circumambulate the temples of Vishnu at least 4 times, it is understood that he has traveled all over the universe. By such circumambulation, one is understood to have seen all the holy places where the Ganges water is flowing, and by following the regulative principles of Chaturmasya, one can very quickly be raised to the platform of devotional service. Sometimes, we think, oh, these are ordinary things. Parikrama lagana, tilak lagana, kanti mala dharan karna, clap karna kirtan mein, dance karna. No, these are all very, very potent forms of devotional service. And if you continue to do all these things throughout your whole life, it will give you great benefit. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, done with now.
Prabhuji, well done.
I see the hand of Madhvi Gauri Madhini. Raise your hand.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yeah.
I was willing to ask that whatever devotional activities which we have just read, whether it's applying tilak or circumambulating the temple, it has to be done in any consciousness or it has to be in pure consciousness. Then only it will bestow us the desired result which we have read.
It has to be performed first of all. Don't worry about the consciousness. Start doing that. Consciousness or no consciousness. We should do it practically. And when we start doing it practically, these are so potent, it will purify the consciousness. And gradually, our consciousness, the more purer it becomes, the more potent the result would be. And gradually you will raise to a platform where you do not want any result out of them. What is our intention? Our only consciousness would be, I'm doing it because it would please Krishna. So that is the real result. To please Krishna. Krishna would be happy with me. Krishna would smile. It would give pleasure to Krishna. So all these results are given, but ultimately we are doing it because we want to please Krishna. And all those results would come. They would be secondary. They would come like that only. But even if the consciousness is not pure, it has to begin somewhere. So do it practically.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Prabhuji, as we have read, by doing all these activities, we get such results. So what about our children, Prabhuji, knowingly or unknowingly, they are doing all the activities. like they are going down, they are going to the Rath Yatra also, and they are circumambulating the temple also, whatever we have read. But still we see that they are not chanting and they are not willing to take the name, holy name.
So that is
So how
the
can we understand?
fortune of taking birth in the family of a Vaishnavas. Even if they are not doing anything from the external side, still it is giving them lot and lot of benefit. Don't have slightest of doubt in this. They would be much more advanced piously, and we do not know at what point of time they would take up and they would become fully Krishna conscious. So it is going in their bank account and it is accumulating and accumulating. And when it reaches a certain state, oh, something clicks, and uh, the ground is being prepared. The more prasad they take, Charnamrit they take, darshan of deities they take, they render some service. Externally, they may not be chanting, externally, they may not be doing any other thing. Still, they are making advancement. And we do not know who is more advanced. Externally, now they may not be chanting, but within one moment, they can attain perfection. We know persons who had chanted just one round, that too occasionally. But the kind of destination they received, the environment in which they left body, even big sannyasis uh, may not have that kind of privilege or fortune. So it is a very internal matter. It is between that soul and Krishna. But as far as this is concerned, this is the great fortune and privilege of taking birth in the family of Vaishnavas, and they definitely make advancement. So we must continue and be patient.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Anushka Mat.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question. Like sometimes there are some circumstances or the conditions are that we are not able to circumambulate the temple due to paucity of time or construction of temple maybe. So in that case, if we just stand in one position and just take a rounds there itself by 4 rounds, so will that give the same benefit?
Now that is actually forbidden. You should not circumambulate in the front of the deity like that only. If you read the previous chapter, one of the offenses is considered like that. So if the facility is not there, then what can be done? You can circumambulate Garud Dev, you can circumambulate Tulsi, and you can circumambulate wherever the facility is. Right?
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
And we can circumambulate within our own minds.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So we'll stop here and we'll continue this section tomorrow. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandatam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Prabhuji, sometime what happens, it's regarding blasphemy of a devotee. And Prabhuji, in the third paragraph, it is written that by mistake, अगर एक मैंने किसी का कुछ गलत किसी डिवोटी प्योर वैष्णव के बारे में सुन लिया और at that moment I was not able to oppose और in a minute or two बहुत सारी चीजें एक मिनट के अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें चली गई जो बिल्कुल भी परफेक्ट नहीं थी सुनने के लिए. So now what can be done? And though it was from the devotee and before that I was not aware that I would be listening these type of things from that devotee. It was not at all expected to hear anything from that devotee. So what can be done now and how can I be safe in future? 2 questions.
We
Hare
can be
Krishna.
safe in the future when we take a decision in our life that I'll not criticize any Vaishnava and I'll not hear the criticism of a Vaishnava. That's all. what you can do to rectify the situation. You can serve the Vaishnavas whose criticism you have heard. You can please that Vaishnava. You can pay obeisances to that Vaishnava. You can serve that Vaishnava. And you can stay protected if you are following the austerities of tongue. Anudvega karam bhakyam satyam priya hitam chayat swadhyay bhyasanam chayva vangmayam tapujyate. So all these austerities, they are meant, Krishna is prescribing them. And if we take to the instruction of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, we will stay protected. Just like if there are certain rules of a government, a person who is breaking those rules, he will always be in anxiety in the life. But if one is following all the rules and regulation of the government, he's paying his income tax, he has not broken any law, he'll always be peaceful in mind and heart. Similarly, the rules and regulations that are established by Krishna are dharma. If you follow those rules and regulations, you'll always stay peaceful within mind and heart. But if you break those rules and regulations, the mind will always stay very disturbed. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.